Hello folks, my name is Mark. Welcome to my channel and welcome to the next edition of this Lapidary dungeon adventure. This is a rock from Hubbard Basin. And you know, the story of this rock is that I found it, but I had kind of a full bucket. Keep trying to get back to the truck, but man, I keep coming across these killer rocks. That may not look like much, but that's a big old chunk of chalcedony or jasper with chalcedony on it. Botryoidal. Maybe I'll find it tomorrow. And so I just plopped it on the ground in a spot where I could find it again. And I think I marked the GPS. I can't remember, but and then I found it a day and a half or something later. Here's this one I dug up yesterday. Maybe I'll leave it right here, and I'll leave my bucket right here. I'd like to cut that. It could be something good in there. And eventually it made it back to camp, and it made it back here. And today we're going to decide what to do with it. But I just thought we could take a minute to give it a closer look, because I tend to not take the time, it seems, to really look at something sometimes. To just get wrapped up in trying to be quick about it, you know. Now, we've cut a few rocks here, and I am continually learning new things about these rocks from Hubbard Basin, and what is a limcast and what is not a limcast. And I wonder if this is a limcast, or at least part of a limcast. This looks suspiciously like some of the other materials, you know. At the end of the day, I don't know if it's part of a limcast or not. I don't see anything that really looks like wood. But that doesn't necessarily mean anything. And the next thought is what are we going to do to it? It's pretty heavy. I think it's fairly solid material once we get past this botryoidal void, and I'm fully prepared to destroy the specimen. I think there might be some really nice material up in here and up in here. Perhaps not so much on this side. I think this is probably the dirty chalcedony that we've seen kind of before, but from about here on, maybe it's pretty good. And so I could probably cut this a little bit on the tile saw, but I honestly think that this is a prime candidate for slabbing up on the slab saw. And so I think that's what we'll do. We'll take it out, chuck it up in the saw, and have at it. Didn't really expect it. Well, we've been cutting the day away. There's still a little lump there, but I feel like I got most of it. Over here in my dripping tray. And the kitty litter, I've got some piled up under the kitty litter there. And I'll get these other ones in there. And eventually I'll get them washed off and we'll have a nice look at them. Now I put those in kitty litter and washed them in hot water and soaked them in hot water for hours. And then I put them in this bucket overnight, and you can see how much oil just comes off them just from soaking them in the water. The oil eventually breaks loose and rises to the top. That's a lot of oil. You know, I mean, I washed them with soap and water, scrubbed them and everything. All right, to finish up this video, these are the slabs that I cut from that rock. And I thought I'd just lay them out here on the tray, and then we can look at them quickly and then maybe look at them under the UV light. Now, I've cut most of these slabs at 7 millimeters, which is just a little bit more than 1/4 inch. There are a few that are thicker, like more like 8 or 10 millimeters, just to have some thicker material. And then I do cut some at 5 millimeters, which is about as thin as I really like to cut material. Now, I think most of this is pretty solid. Not all of it. I noticed when I was cutting them, and then I tried flexing a few of them, that they, you know, there are some faults and fractures or whatnot. And so you can crumble it if you really try in some areas. Some areas this is highly agatized, and it's very, very solid and strong. And then some of these other areas are just maybe not as highly silicated, I guess would be the proper term for that. Now, I don't know who has been watching these videos, if you've watched any of my previous videos on cutting this Hubbard Basin material, but this rock that I've cut up here and that I'm showing you here looks a lot like a different rock that I cut up the other day, and I'll grab a slice of that and we can compare it, because I've got some sneaking suspicions. This more colorful material is really the premium of the rock. All right, there's a little bit more here that I'll show you, but I wanted to take up what I thought was a Limbcast. And do you see how it just blended in straight away with this material? This is the piece. You know, I think that I can go out on a limb here and say that whatever this is, it's the same material as this. If it's a Limbcast, it was filled in at, you know, the same time with the same material. Or, you know, it's not a Limbcast at all, and it's some other kind of silicated breccia. I don't know that it's a breccia, but, you know, whatever this kind of material is. Silicated quartz mineral deposit. You know, in my mind, without a doubt, these are the same materials. And that's about all I'm really willing to say and make some assertions about. You know, I don't really see this material as being incredibly commercially valuable. You know, it's kind of just a tan mottled rock. Some of the areas are nice, but as far as making killer cabs, I mean, I think there's a few to be made, but I think it'd be a hard time maybe selling. You know, if you're making cabs out of this material, I don't know. You can kind of see some of the fractures in there. Yeah. I was waiting to do that. I often do that with my my slabs on purpose, simply because a weak slab is worth nothing. I'd rather know about all the faults in the material before I pick it up and start cutting on it and put time and effort and energy into it. So, I mean, I do that to all my cabs, all of my slabs, and I have to stop myself from doing it to other people's slabs that they have for sale. All right, let's get the UV light out. Yeah, once again, fairly interesting UV reaction on the chalcedony. Well, that's about it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.